Netherlands-based charity foundation DAIDA has been doing its bit to bring about a change. Its stated mission is to improve the living conditions for those at the lower end of the pyramid in cities of the developing countries. In an attempt to incentivize potential future change leaders to start thinking about the need and the means to make cities sustainable, inclusive, and livable for all, it has instituted a global urban thesis award. The idea is to encourage master's students from around the world to think beyond the standard topics for their academic dissertations and take one step towards changing the world.
The primary reason for DAIDA Awards is simply to make young people, to nudge them to think about issues which are really relevant for the society, instead of just get their degrees.
What I always find very inspiring about the entries is how young people are so socially engaged in what is happening in the world. I think when I had just graduated, I was completely focused on design. I was only thinking about what does my design look like. And I find it very heartening to see that young people nowadays also have a very good social, they're also considered with the impact and what the social values are of their thesis, which I find very inspiring.
How does it work? The competition is open for any master's student in architecture, design, psychology, town planning, or any subject related to the urban environmental landscape. Universities around the world can apply via the global knowledge platform, My Livable City, and select a handful of the best theses from students in their institutes to participate in the DAIDA competition. The topic for each year is selected by the DAIDA jury and board, and is always socially and environmentally relevant to the countries of the emerging economies. In the past, the themes have been water and urban development, inclusive cities, designing for climate change and addressing minorities.
So the theme when I participated in the DAIDA competition was Cities for All, Addressing Minorities. It was appealing for me because it aligned perfectly with my academic research during my master's, as well as my ongoing professional work in India, where I focus on affordable housing or low-income housing. I interpreted the theme of Cities for All, Addressing Minorities from the lens of cities for economic minorities and housing justice. My focus was on the city of New Delhi in India.
When given a particular theme, students are free to interpret it, relying on their own upbringing, life, and work experience.
The lens through which the students, either from their background of the specialization that they're doing, they look at it, the cities they choose can be very different. So, for example, our theme of minorities, somebody talked about children, while somebody else talked about women, somebody else talked about widows.
It was actually my tutors who recommended me to put my thesis forwards for this competition. So the theme that year was the inclusive city, and actually it was really relevant to our studio project at the time. The problem we were dealing with was a result of housing crisis in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And the background of that is that there was mass rural to urban migration, and the response from the government was to create condominium housing to house everybody, thus creating quite an uninclusive, kind of very homogeneous approach.
This award is open to students of participating universities and educational institutes from all over the world. In the past, they have presented solutions for cities in Egypt, Tunisia, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Kenya in Africa, to India, Bangladesh, Philippines, and Oman in Asia, as well as Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina in South America. The students in the universities themselves come from various countries, making this a truly international and diverse competition.
My thesis was focused on children, their behavior, and how our cities can influence their growth. And unfortunately, according to studies, children are one of the marginalized groups that are not considered while designing cities. I addressed the impact of the physical characteristics of streets on children's independent mobility in new cities, especially in New Cairo in Egypt. So one of DAIDA's objectives is to help students implement their projects in their countries. So this was one of the reasons that encouraged me to apply for the DAIDA competition, that I would be able to implement the interventions based on my thesis in the neighborhood that was in my case study.
One piece of feedback I received was around the need to generate stronger urban design guidelines for the proposal. So the degree that I was studying at the time had a design component, but it was more focused on the social and economic and political lens of urban planning. So after I received that feedback, I took an urban design short course, and I'm considering studying further in the urban design space to deepen my understanding of design and potentially use that to enhance the proposal. And my thesis work and the award has placed me in a leadership position in that NGO, where I'm currently leading the food systems and food security related projects, which relates directly to my thesis, which looked at food systems and urban food security.
The jury shortlists 10 to 12 candidates who then present their thesis in an online award ceremony, along with other participants and the professors who nominated them. Participating in a recognized international competition brings students the opportunity to interact with expert jurors and industry veterans, learn from peers all over the world, while defending their ideas on an international stage.
I think what one must remember is that even if you have a very good thesis that's well written, that has a good solution, that has a good argument, even then the thesis may not stand out enough, because we also look at the way that the thesis is presented and how you tell your story. What we have found is that a thesis that we have just by reading it, we have thought, oh, it's a good thesis, but it's not excellent. When the jury has the presentation, and the presentation is really good, then we judge that thesis also on a higher level. While the opposite is also true, that sometimes we have a very well-written thesis, but the presentation and the explanation of the thesis at the presentation is not so good, then we judge it slightly less. So it's really important how you tell your story.
It's a learning for students like me who come from India, a developing country, to see presentations from some really polished colleges, and the way they present their work. So it's a learning. So it's always the exposure that DAIDA brings to the table.
DAIDA is currently supporting projects in India, Thailand, Philippines, Somalia, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Peru, and Egypt. Its board members comprise architects, development economists, management, housing, and real estate consultants, as well as urban planners. So, what does participating and winning the DAIDA competition bring? For one, a substantial cash prize, which is often the incentive for further research. Besides the cash prizes, the jury may also award special prizes to ideas that are scalable, and winners can start further researching and implementing their solutions.
The scale is different, but the creativity, the solutions, the analysis, they have to demonstrate that they're able to provide us with a sound solution and analysis. The award is actually evolving, and we see more and more very interesting entries from different universities and faculties. Obviously, that it requires an additional work of those submitting their thesis and their design work and their research work to the DAIDA award. I see the future with good perspectives.
I think that every student, winner or not winner, had added value about the big problems of this earth. And this problem about urban cities, this problem about diversity, this problem about the climate change. So I think that everyone has so much to tell and so much to think about it, that they are the young generation who have to be responsible for the next 50 years about this big issues.
Participation is free for universities who can select the top master's theses that are relevant to this year's theme. Participating universities can email academy@mylivablecity.com to know more. For now, let's hear it from some of the previous winners.
My name is Tessa Chittenden. I'm based in the city of Cape Town. I won second prize in the DAIDA Awards in 2022. The reason I got my current job was partly because of my success in the awards. And it's also a great opportunity to receive feedback on your thesis from a world-class panel of experts so that you can really deepen the strength of your thesis proposal.
Hi, I'm Myrna Labib. I'm winner of DAIDA Awards in 2023. Since winning it and have been more focused on my research topic from different perspectives that were presented to me by the jurors during the competition. You should participate in the DAIDA Award because implementing your project on ground, in addition to the possibility of your next research idea, could be right around the corner.
Hi, I'm Zubing Shir, and I was a winner in the DAIDA competition in 2021. I now work in London in Foster & Partners, and I fully recommend you to participate in the DAIDA competition because as a student coming out of university, I think it's super important wherever you may be afterwards to continue your fascinations that you had at university. And to continue exploring your area of interest and to always keep sort of your ideas and convictions at the back of your mind throughout the rest of your lives.
I am Girisha Sethi. I received the DAIDA Foundation Award in the year 2023-24. As somebody who's been fortunate to receive the DAIDA Award, I'd encourage students and graduates of architecture, urban planning, and associated fields to participate in the DAIDA competition, as it is a wonderful, generous platform that not only recognizes and awards work that address critical issues in the field, but also promotes it at an international level.
Hi, this is architect Gauri Satam from Mumbai, India. I am the winner of DAIDA Awards 2021. The awards has definitely helped me in understanding that we as architects could contribute a lot to these urban problems through some participatory and inclusive planning alongside the locals and giving some very specific solutions which are more practical with the help of these locals.